If you've ever felt overwhelmed or second-guessed yourself or just felt lost in your homeschool life, this video is for you. Today, I'm sharing the 6 most common reasons homeschool moms seek coaching and what clarity looks like in each area. If we haven't met, I'm Teresa Wiedrich, the graduated homeschool mom of 4 turned certified life coach in the homeschool mom space. It's lovely to meet you. I'd love to hear about you and your homeschool if you'd share in the comments below. And make sure you subscribe to this channel so next week you can get some more inspiration for your homeschool mom life too. The first reason homeschool moms often come to coaching is that they're addressing unrealistic expectations. They don't know it necessarily, but they're about to face them. This looks like trying to be all things to all people. Educator, chef, nurturer, housekeeper, maybe even businesswoman, while comparing yourself to Instagram or Pinterest perfect homeschools. Like, is it possible? No, it's not. You can't be all things to everyone and do it perfectly too. What you need clarity on is where those expectations really come from. The differences between your high standards and perfectionism, which is rooted in a feeling of not good enoughness, and how we've internalized the messages from perhaps our childhood or the culture or a variety of places, internalized messages that shape your self-talk.
Reason number 2, a loss of your sense of self or a lack of personal time. Losing yourself in homeschool is an easy thing to do. I mean, we are doing this homeschool thing possibly 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for a couple of decades, sometimes more, sometimes less, but there isn't a union in existence that would say that's okay. Maybe you feel like you disappeared under your routine or with no time for your own interests or goals or creative outlets. Clarity here means rediscovering and prioritizing who you are without guilt and understanding that your presence in your homeschool is really meaningful, but it's also deeper and more nourishing when you're connected to yourself and giving to yourself when you are really in your homeschool life. When Valerie joined me for coaching, all she knew is that she'd been doing this homeschooling thing for a couple decades with 4 kids, and the youngest one was not getting the homeschool that the older ones got because she was losing steam. She wasn't engaged. She wasn't as interested, but she didn't want to say it out loud because she did want to be doing it. She just didn't have the energy for it anymore. She also had a load of responsibilities, was capable of enacting all those things, doing all those things, and she tried to do them all perfectly. She and I looked at each of the things that were part of her life and assessed whether they really belonged in her life. Also, which ones were sapping her energy and which ones were feeding her. This helped her get clear on what really mattered. By the end of our coaching series, she came to a conclusion that she was pursuing activities that she used to think were important, but she no longer did. And that it was okay that her youngest kiddo wasn't getting the same education as her oldest kids. It just is what it is. We parent differently. We also homeschool differently, dependent on who the child is and how many kids we've had. Over the course of her 2 decades, she discovered she also wanted time for herself outside her mom role, outside her homeschool mom role. And so she pursued things outside of that. It brought her more energy, it fueled her, and she was more present and grounded in her family. And now she's a happier homeschool mom doing what she's doing until her youngest is going to graduate. She'll continue to homeschool, but now she's got more verve as she's doing it. The third reason that homeschool moms come to coaching is around relational strains or relational challenges that are happening within the home, especially with her partner, sometimes with a parent if they're living in the home, and definitely with her kids. She may feel distant, or she may feel reactive, or constantly feeling misunderstood in her relationships. Coaching helps you see how homeschooling has reordered the dynamics of your relationships because things shift when you bring everyone home. But it isn't always just homeschooling that causes relational shifts or relational strain. Sometimes we're bringing that relational issue into our homeschool family life before we were actually homeschooling. As with all things, family life invites you into your personal growth journey and also into your personal relationships growth journey. It helps to reorder your dynamics. It might help you to understand that you're overfunctioning. That's a common conversation point with moms. They're overfunctioning, overattending, trying to be all things to everyone. They learn what healthy, clear boundaries actually look like in coaching. One of the moms I had a conversation with, let's call her Lydia. She was challenged in a relationship with her youngest daughter. And her youngest daughter was just a few years away from graduating. She'd already had a couple of kids graduate. She really loved her homeschool journey, but again, she was fading out. She was losing interest in being as fully engaged in the homeschool activities as she was with the older kids. It's a common conversation point. It's definitely not the only scenario that I see in coaching. Sometimes I'm coaching moms from a very early part of their mothering journey. But this mom, we'll call Lydia, was having a challenge with this daughter because she very much wanted to give the same educational opportunities to that daughter. That daughter was not the same as the older kids. She didn't want what her mom was dishing up. She wanted more opportunity to do things she wanted to do. She wanted to be able to include art and design and things that her mom didn't see as educational opportunities, even though her daughter was always pursuing them whenever she didn't have to do the formal learning activities. There was a lot of conflict between her and her daughter until she could finally include her daughter's interests, her pursuits, her intentions into her home education, which was just in time for her high school graduation and also the precipice of her adult life. Reason number 4 can be simply decision fatigue and mental clutter. Sometimes homeschool moms come to chat with me to get really clear on what matters to them, what they want to include in their homeschool lives, really what they want to include in all of their life. Because this homeschool journey is it's a really fun one. It's so customized. We can choose whatever we want. And there are so many possibilities these days. So much curriculum, so much extracurriculars. We can travel all over the world. There's so many possibilities, but we can't do everything. We can't, not with sanity. So sometimes we need someone to help us to get clear on what really matters to us. Also, we sometimes question every choice we make, whether that's from curriculum to our routines, every single thing. When we question ourselves all the time, our brain just ends up spinning with endless what ifs. So sometimes we need to actually be asked, why is it a challenge to make a commitment to this thing? Is there a fear under the surface of that choice? Or what is fueling the endless what ifs? Clarity can come from distinguishing external noise from your internal guidance system, creating more effective routines, certainly a quieter mind, and also capacity to create margins so you can breathe throughout the day. Our goal is to help you be thinking more clearly and knowing more intuitively. The 5th reason moms come to me for coaching is an experience that I certainly had. It was called burnout. I didn't identify it as burnout at the time. In my book, Homeschool Mama Self-Care, Nurturing the Nurturer, I have a section devoted to overwhelm. And I often share that story of overwhelm, about waking up in January or February of the 3rd or 4th year of my homeschool years and remember thinking I am tired. I feel foggy. I don't know if I'd not slept through the night, or maybe the day before I had an argument with my husband, or maybe a child came to bed with me. Hard to know. Could be any of those things. Then I wake up and a cold cup of coffee is sitting on my bedside table, which was my sign at that time that one of my kiddos brought it to me. And that was a very kind thing to do. I remember feeling foggy and thinking, oh, gee, I slept through my alarm. Everyone's up. I can hear them in the kitchen and they are making breakfast together. And that was a beautiful thing. The older ones looking after the younger ones. But by the time I get into the kitchen, somebody's bickering and I'm just like, oh, I just need a cup of coffee and an Advil. I need to find a quiet, peaceful space, but I woke up too late to get it. I discover that kids are all fighting over a spatula and there's drops of pancake batter on the floor. And okay, this is a little more cluttered than my mind needs right now, but they're amazing. They're actually really doing something, trying to make this work this morning, and they're not even waking me up. So then I'm trying to manage what's going on in the kitchen. We finally get the pancakes done and I keep my cool. We're all working together to get into the other room so we can sit and do our morning read aloud together. And an argument. A couple of kids fighting over Legos. I don't know. You can imagine, I'm sure. And I just remember thinking, stop, please, I can't do this. This is overwhelming, overstimulated. I can feel the energy between the kids. I'm not going to be able to manage it. We're only beginning the day. Is this happening again? This isn't the way homeschooling is supposed to be. Imagine me realizing that somebody is getting kind of loud in the room and she needs to take a breather and a break. And then I realize it's me. It's me. I'm too intense. I'm too frustrated. I need to step away. And so I step away into the other room. I let the kids know I'll be back in a little bit. I call my friend to decompress. I just feel kind of intense. And she says, well, have you watched this Brené Brown TEDx talk? Actually, what she says is, did you watch this YouTube video yesterday? It went viral. You should watch this. It's really amazing. And so I turn it on and I discover this woman, a short brown blonde coif, big black chunky shoes, and a jean jacket. And she says some words about, this is not what she actually says, but this is what I heard her say. She said, you don't really know who you are. You're not looking after yourself. You don't even know what you want in life, but you keep going through the motions to do the things you know you're supposed to do or you believe you're supposed to do. You are exhausted. You're overproductive and it's not working for you. FYI, that's not what she said. If you look back to the video, it's not at all what she said, but somehow that's what I took from it. And I discovered in that third or fourth year of my homeschool that I was doing too much. I was doing everything alone. I was always on, and I was swinging between overproductivity and boom, blow-ups. Coaching is something that I do with moms all the time in this realm to help them see the difference between being a responsible mom and being over-responsible, creating supportive systems and being able to do things independently, experiencing real rest, and also being responsible to the children right in front of you. So burnout from overfunctioning is definitely a reason I have conversations with moms in coaching. Reason number 6, the final reason I'll share here, is that we feel disconnected from our purpose. We lose connection to our bigger vision or a bigger purpose. Maybe you began homeschooling with passion, but now you feel like you're just surviving your days. Clarity can come from reconnecting with your values, being aligned from the inside out. You can rediscover why you chose to homeschool, and you can change your reasons this many years later. You can create a life and a homeschool that's aligned with your family's real needs. The kids that you know at this phase of your family life and who they are right now instead of when they were 3 or 5 or 7. Maybe they're 16, 17, and 18 and everything's changed. Not only do you want to assess sometimes your purpose in your homeschool family, but sometimes you get to the place where you start questioning your internal sense of purpose, the one that is beyond the mom role. Perhaps it's nearer to the end when they're growing up or nearer the end of your homeschool years, but we begin to ask ourselves, what do we want to do after our homeschool years? Because though it seems almost unreasonable and unlikely that time will ever come, it will. It will. Ask me how I know. These are the 6 reasons that I most commonly have conversations with homeschool moms in coaching. I'm curious which of these 6 is really at the root of your overwhelm. I'd love to hear if you'd share below. If you'd like to go deeper, I invite you to book an aligned homeschool reset session. In this session, we'll explore your unique challenges, clarify your vision, and uncover small aligned steps to help you feel confident, grounded, and fully present in your homeschool mom life. Copy and paste the link below to schedule your session. I can't wait to meet you and help you bring clarity and alignment back to your homeschool life. You deserve a homeschool that actually works for your real, messy, beautiful life. And it starts with showing up for you.